Season 16 is finally here, and you know what that means? Lots of changes, but I want to help you out. I'm Viking. I've been rank 1 Vi the last few seasons. I'm gonna get it again, but I thought I'd help you out, give you a chance to maybe get it too. So I'm gonna help you knowing what to build in this season, because it can be a bit confusing in the beginning. There's some new items, there's some changes, the whole meta changes, and I've played quite a few games. I'm going to teach you what I built on Bruiser, what I think is the best, and what I built on Assassin Vi, which is kind of my own style, which Balls has been taken over, but I'll also show you what is good there and show you on the target dummy a little bit the damages and why I build certain items in different scenarios. So let's get into it. First of all, we're going to cover Bruiser because that's the most common one. Although Assassin, I think, is very good, and you should try to build it in this season. When it comes to boots, actually, we can cover the pets first. So the pets, you're going to go with one or two choices. One of two choices, and that is Gustwalker or Mossthumper Seedling. For the most part, I'm going to go Gustwalker in about 70% of my games. And in the rest of the 30%, I will go Mossthumper because it's actually quite nice if you don't feel like you need mobility. Sometimes mobility is very nice if you know you're going to play a lot of side lane. But if it's big brawler games or enemy team has a lot of poke, like you're playing into a Teemo or Zyros, and you know it's going to be a big brawl, this Mossthumper is actually very good. It kind of works like a mountain soul. So that's the first thing. You get this much faster now, which is nice. Boots, you got Lucidity boots, you got Mercs, and you got Tab Eyes, and you also got Swiftness boots. All those are very good options. Mercs is the worst one. I do this very rarely. If you're playing against 2 to 3 auto attackers, I will go Tab Eyes. If you're playing against a Jax, you're playing against an AD carry, and maybe they also have like a Diana, which also throws out a lot of basic attacks. Tab Eyes is very, very good. If not, Lucidity Boots is amazing because it's cheaper. It allows you to rush other items quicker. And that cooldown is very nice. And also it lowers the cooldown on Flash, which is also a really big deal for Vi. And then we got Swiftness Boots, which is very nice, just moving around overall. If you're playing against slows, playing against a Zillion or a champion like Lilia, and you know you're going to need that mobility, or an Ashe, Swiftness Boots is amazing. It also reduces the effectiveness of your cell slow on the Q, which makes it much easier to hit Qs, and you're also moving around the map really quickly. So that's about it. If you're playing against a lot of CC, and then I mean a lot of CC, it's okay to go Mercs, but most of the time I feel like it's a bit unnecessary because you can always go Sterax later. Even think about this new item, and you also can use all of Vi's spells to buffer CC. So I'm just going to go Lucidity Boots. That's what I built the most often. First item is going to be one thing, and that is Trinity Force. And that's going to be the case in every single game. Unless you're playing pro play, you can go Sun and Sky first item because it is very good at just being really powerful at one item in big fights when your main purpose is just to be an engage and be as tanky as possible and maybe get out some damage here and there. But for solo queue, Trinity Force is much better because it allows you to clear faster, it allows you to duel faster, it allows you to get picks easier. So in that scenario, Trinity Force is much better, and farming is very important this season. Second item, you got a couple of options. You got Black Cleaver, which is what I do in most cases. Black Cleaver is amazing. The other options you have is Sun or Sky. Either or these. So if they don't build any armor, if they build like literally no armor at all, if they don't build, not building Tab Eyes, not building like a Zonias's, not building an armor item on top lane, for example, you can skip Cleaver. But very often, if you suspect they're going to go into armor, just go Cleaver because it's such an amazing item with great synergy with Vi. So you can also go this. It's going to be great burst if they don't build any armor. And that's the only 2 options I've went with so far. You can think about Eclipse, but it's not really that good. It's better to just go Cleaver. So most likely you're going to go Cleaver. Third, you got many options, but they are also quite limited. So if you feel like you can just go full damage or like be a bit of a carry, not full damage, but you can You don't need anything in particular very strongly. You can go Overlords. It's an absolutely crazy good item. Already now it's giving me 51 AD, 550 HP, which is the two most important stats for Vi. But if you get low, this one is also gonna be a lot better. This passive stacks up, and it ends up giving you almost like 80 AD, and all the point from this, it's gonna get stronger and stronger. So that is a very, very good item. Other third items, you got Sterax. If you're the main engage, if they have a lot of CC, Sterax is really good. It gives that extra shield when you're engaging. It also gives you tenacity when you're getting CC'd, so that's like an all-in teamfight item. You can also just go Sun Sky here if nothing in particular feels very tempting, especially if a lot of the game it feels like sustaining fights where it's a bit brawlery. You can fight for a long time, get multiple procs. Sun Sky is very good. You also got Eclipse now, because Eclipse synergizes really well with Black Cleaver, because the Eclipse proc itself gives you a Black Cleaver stack, so you will have that fully stacked on just Q auto E. That's a full shred, so that is very strong. But you're not going to be using this that often. This, if you're playing as very tanky teams that don't have a lot of damage, which allows you to get many Eclipse stacks, and also allows you to drain tanks with the max HP proc. But this also requires you to have more frontline than yourself, because you get a lot squishier even though you do a lot of damage. And then we got Deathlands, which is one of my absolute favorites, especially if you didn't go lucidity boost, because at this point, when you have this amount of HP, you want to get resistances. Typically, you don't get that with Overlords, which is a bit problematic, because if they have any sort of max HP damage, you're going to get shredded, and the armor to back up all the HP that you have. So that sounds absolutely amazing, especially if you're carrying quite a bit, if you're really strong, if you're playing against any burst champions like a Rengar or a Talon. Extremely, extremely good. And then the last option is Maw, which is there. Maw is extremely good. It's kind of the same item as Death Dance, the antithesis, just against AP damage. If you're playing against a Diana and a LeBlanc, and those are the two carrying, get that Maw. For the rest of the build, you're actually just going to fill out with those items that I just mentioned in the order that makes sense to the game. So if you keep dying to AP damage and you build this, you're going to go Maw. Get it? If you built this and you're getting a bit bursted, you want some armor, get this. And then same with Sterax. If you feel like Sterax makes sense here, the Sterax shield is going to get really big. So this is how you're gonna do the build, but these are the item options that you're gonna use. Don't do anything like experimental hexblade. You can experiment with the End of Thunder. I haven't played this much, but I don't think it's that good, because not getting any HP, the Omnimap is gonna usually survive. I think Sterax just makes more sense for her overall, even though it's a little bit less damage. You also got a couple of tank items that you can use on occasion. It's not my favorite. I prefer Bruiser items because her AD scalings are so good. But you can always go Randuin if they have a lot of crit, which is very prevalent in this season. You can also go Iris Lari against the Karthus or big AoE when you're more of a supportive champion. And then you got Frozen Heart if they have a lot of on-hit attack speed champions. And then Kenik Rukorn is the magic item, no MR item you want to go for, or Spirit's Visage. Kenik Rukorn against Burst, Spirit's Visage, especially if you have like a Sun of Sky to buff that up, or if you have an Enchanter on your team that can shield you and heal you. So that's pretty much it. If you want any healing reduction, just buy the Executioner and just sit on it and finish this one last. Don't get like Thornmail or something unless they're full AD. Then it's okay. Otherwise, this is just the best option. Now, on to Assassin. And you want to go Bruiser in maybe many games. The games you can go Assassin is games where they don't have a lot of CC. That is the most important. Them being tanky or not, it's not that important. It matters. But if they are HP stackers, it doesn't really matter, because the W is going to do so much damage with all your AD. It does like crazy damage. But yeah, champions who stack armor and has a lot of CC is quite tough to play against. Also, if they have really good protection, like a Ludo or a Rakan, and they have a Zillion or a Tompkins champions, you can really protect well. And also, they don't have any other great options to pick. Like if you play Assassin against the Jax, you're going to struggle. If you play Assassin against the Lissandra, you're going to struggle because they just have so many ways of just ducking you and stalling. And that is the opposite of what you want to do with Assassin Vi. So first option here, I've tried with Essence River in the beginning because that is come back with the Sheen, which is a really, really big deal. But it got nerfed a little bit, so it's not that good to start with anymore. I think it's still good, but I prefer now to do Unbroken Glaive. I think this is one of the best items in the game right now. It got buffed. It has 60 AD, which is nuts. It has 18 lethality, which is one of the highest. It has 15 ability haste, which is really, really good in the early game because your ultimate is so long cooldown in the beginning. So it's going to give you more ultimates. And also just the blackout is really, really good because it allows you to find those wards and clear those out, which is very important right now with those vision pockets. And it also allows you to keep stealth ward many times, which is really good right now, right? When you can put wards in spot like this and get a lot of vision. So you can actually run this and not have to go sweeper, which is actually really, really strong in my opinion. Usually on Assassin, you want to back this up with Ionian Boots or Swiftness Boots. You don't want to go tanky here unless they're full AD or full AP for that matter. You always want to go Gustwalker. In some cases, you can go Mosstomper if you play against a lot of burst and you want a little bit of tankiness, but for the most part, you want to move around the map. So Gustwalker is going to be it. Second item, I actually like to follow Unbroken Glaive up with Collector because lethality is good with more lethality. So that now you're transitioning from lethality, which is very good in the early game, over to crit, which scales really well into the late game. And crit overall got buffed this season, which is absolutely awesome. I love that. Crit buy is kind of back. So now we're going to go into Collector, and now we got a few options. If they build a lot of armor, they have quite a bit of armor. You want to go Lord Dominic's, which is really, really good. If you play against tanks or they're stacking Zoniases and Tabies, get Lord Dominic's. They don't need a lot of armor for this to make sense. All right. So if we compare this, boom, 1500, 500, and this has only 60 armor, right? If I buy a lethality item, it's going to be boom, boom, boom. You could see damage. Maybe it was a crit there as well, but it doesn't take a lot of armor for this to do a lot more damage with the Lord Dominic's. You also get crit chance. So Lord Dominic's is a really, really good item. It also allows you to use that passive really well because you're not getting any HP. Then you got also opportunity if you want to, but I like the transition into crit here. You can either rush Infinity Edge, but I like to go Essence River here because now we get a bit more haste, which is very, very nice. You get that crit, that Sheen proc, which is really, really nice. This does a lot of damage. Bam. You see, it's the same damage with that one crit, but it's cheaper. It gives you more haste, and it's a really good burst with that Sheen. You can many times get a kill by just queuing and Eing and getting a big chunk on just that one auto. And then you got Infinity Edge, also possible if you're like insanely rich. You back him with pretty much a full one. I'll allow it if you have this from the beginning and you can just buy an Infinity Edge, do it. The problem with the Infinity Edge, it's hard to purchase because these expensive components. So my ideal build would look like this, and then Lord Dominic's. It is insanely aggressive, but the damage is nuts, and I can show you this a little bit. But the damage is absolutely bonkers. Boom, boom, boom. That's almost 3000 damage. You're also going to have 100% crit, so it's completely reliable. But you also got a few options that you need to know about. You can fill in these extra slots with, for example, a Maw. If you're playing against a very bursty mage and you keep fighting him and you want to shut him down, and this can allow you to win that fight. This is very important to use those options. Same goes if you're playing against an AD assassin. getting that little bit extra damage, it's not going to be worth for him one-shotting you. So if you don't get one-shot, you're still going to one-shot him if it's quite squishy, especially if you're ahead. So you actually want to go for these items, these defensive items, when you're more ahead, not when you're behind. You don't want to go tanky when you're behind, because then you're not going to have any impactful damage. Then you just need to go raw damage if you're losing. The other few options you have is Ghostblade, Axiom Arc, and Hubris. Hubris is especially good in low elos to go as a first item instead of, for example, Armor, because you get a lot of kills and you get a lot of stacks. And games typically last a little longer. And then also you got Opportunity, crazy item. Sometimes I swap out my boots at the end for Ghostblade, because it gives you that mobility and move speed to compensate. And then you got Edge of Night as well. So your build can also look like this. If Edge of Night is very good that game, and you're playing against hook champions or CC and you keep getting blocked by those, this can be very, very good. I don't really go Profane or Voltaic Blade. These are very rare cases, but you have Serpent's Fang, which you have to use at like second item or third item many times if you're playing against a bunch of shields. So you just got to look for that. If you're playing against Eclipse champions, other shield champions and a Karma, they have a Lee Sin, they have a Riven, that's enough shields for you to justify getting Serpent's Fang. So just look for that. That's an option. And that's pretty much it. Not much more you need to know. I'll show you the runes for each build. That's going to be the same every game. And then you're going to play a little bit similar, but if you want to know more about how to utilize this build or Vi in general, I got a massive guide on my main channel with chapters, how to play her mechanically, strategically, team fights, all that stuff, and that's still really, really relevant, even though that was made in season 15, it doesn't really matter. It covers the same stuff, which is really, really crucial, so check that out. I hope you enjoyed this video, hope you learned something, and good luck out there. See ya.